Hi everyone, today is June 18th, um, second last week of Q2, quarter two. Month will end in a couple of weeks. Now, there are significant changes happening in the capital market. I would like to cover that aspect first because the Bitcoin price movement is not in isolation, as we know. It is driven by capital market movement. When I say capital market move, it's not just stocks, it's not just Nasdaq. It's it includes everything, all the asset classes. So that's one clarification. So um, my focus is not just Bitcoin when it comes to trend analysis, but uh, overall capital market. Primarily the technical analysis, but also fundamental analysis. So I'll share my thoughts on what is happening and why I said I'm neutral despite of major uh, drawdown and despite of absence of bounce, as there is no significant bounce, why I said I'm neutral and potentially I see a bottom formation here. So I'll share my thoughts, the rationale behind my view. So this weekly call, it makes sense. So firstly, the commodity market is showing sign of top. The natural gas, not the gasoline, but the natural gas, I called out top on our capital market channel. If you have access, you know that more than a week ago. And it dropped significantly since then. Why it is important? Commodities are important because there is a chain we are talking about. What chain? It starts with, basically it's all about inflation. Now, how inflation is related, there is a simple relationship or dependency. One is, see, the Bitcoin is not being bought on cash alone. This is to be understood. In fact, the whole entire money system, the credit play 90% or more, and cash is maybe 5%, um, around 5% in the economy. That's a fact. So all the money, when we say that equals to cash plus credit, when you swipe your credit card, you generate credit. You have money, you will repay, but actually you're generating credit. So the whole entire world is credit based economy. Some parts are not, eastern, some areas which are not so, which do not have banking, then they are more cash driven. But most of the countries, especially developed countries, those are credit based economy, and the cash is very little, means people spend more than what they earn sometimes, or equal. Basically, if the income is turn off, they have nothing more than a month or two. It's hard for many to survive. The cash based economy is very small, very tiny. So this is big picture I'm talking about. So and all this purchase that you see, I don't think this is cash based, this is credit based. This is to be understood because this is very important. Why? Because when interest rate goes up, the credit becomes expensive. When the credit becomes expensive, the buying doesn't happen. In fact, selling starts. And it's a gradual process. And that's why you would be wondering why Bitcoin is behaving. It's simply because of the Fed's decision on interest rate. So if you notice, my chart indicated in November there's weakness. Now there was nothing in the market, but smart investor, or I would say not smart but resourceful investors, which are which are smart. I mean, they are ahead in the game. They take action. They know what might be coming, and they start pulling off the string. And that is reflected on chart. That's why TA is so important. The fundamental realized later. Often the TA recognize it earlier. And I'm giving you the example. So November, I started seeing that effect. Now, there was no plan from Federal Reserve. In fact, Fed was talking about inflation is transitory. That means it's temporary. So of course, they're wrong, and they said they're wrong later, but it was too late. So what happens is, when the Fed in December announced that they're going to raise interest rate, the Bitcoin plummeted December end. And then you know the history. Since then, it's a roller coaster ride. So everything, and the Fed had to do because of inflation. And there are two components of inflation. One is the demand side, and another is the supply side. The demand side is where more and more money was printed during the COVID because of relief fund and stimulation. It was needed. Of course, it was needed because the productivity was down. So if you want to help the society, you had to print. But when you print, you generate excess demand, and people misused as well. They use that money for shopping. They used that money for buying stocks and other things. That is also a fact. So it's a policy mistake on many fronts. The right way was probably to give a credit on certain thing, like let's say child credit and all that, but government decided to give cash. And when the cash is given, or that's free credit basically is given, then economy, I mean, then the people would use in different ways. So the point is, there was excess cash, excess demand. And then the supply side, because of the COVID and the China lockdown and the war. So all these factors you put together made all the central banks over the world, they had to then realize that the inflation is going up. So the inflation is going up. So that's why they had to raise interest rate. So when the interest rate goes up, credit becomes expensive. When the credit becomes expensive, it impacts buying. And that's why not just buying, people would try to save the profit. So it's double effect. The buying, of course, stops because and then they see the uncertainty, and that's why basically that's why they go for sell off. And that was the beginning. December end. November it started melting. December it was confirmed that's what is coming up, and so on. In last 6 months, then it has been going down. So this is the background, very important to understand. Of course, this is my analysis, my point of view. You can do the research. Now we are at a stage where, again, like November, I see top on commodities. TA point of view, of course, CNBC or other media are still talking about recession, and many analysts are talking about higher oil price and higher gas. I may be wrong, but I see a top on natural gas a week ago, and it dropped significantly since then. And then yesterday, I called out. I mean, a week ago, I indicated for the oil that it's showing weakness. There was resistance, R2 resistance we have on capital market, and it was struggling. But then there was a move that I thought maybe, so for a day, I thought it's bullish sign. But anyway, so yeah, on yesterday, before the drop started, I called out oil top. Okay, So that's another thing. So the oil on Thursday, Friday, I was seeing the weakness and called out a top. Now, when I call out top means heavy resistance and potential top. I would say potential top at this moment on. So natural gas, oil, these are two key factors, because if they go up, and they have gone up significantly, when they go up, they raise this price because the energy price affects everything, literally everything, all the manufacturing, anything, transport, everything. So that pushes the inflation, and that has been the case for last 8-9 months longer. So the COVID was the factor earlier which has brought down the productivity. So and the stimulation that raised the demand. So basically you don't have people working and making things, but they have cash. So it's otherwise usually doesn't happen. If you don't work, you don't get cash. We had a situation where you don't work, but you get cash. So that was a problem. And then this new problem because of war, and war came later in Feb. The inflation started earlier, but it was more political thing that they say the war is everything. Yeah, war is contributing factor, but it started much before the problem I mentioned, cash without productivity, and basically free credit without productivity, not cash but free credit. um anyway, then of course the rising interest rate, because and everything was uh, the credit market was tight. Basically the bond yields were going up, so the old bond would value less, so bond were also dumping. So market was panicking because there's no safe haven, and this is inflation at 40 years high. Bond is 40 years kind of trend. It broke the 40 years trend. Like bonds were, so bond and yields are opposite, just to clarify if you're not aware. The yield go up when the bond goes down. Okay, you can research more. This is simple thing. So yields were going up because the new bonds were being issued with a higher interest rate. So old bonds were being dumped. So that's why the bond were going down, yields were going up. Okay, so that's a simple thing, basic thing. I mean, so the bond was, anyone who was holding bond was also not safe. Anyone who was holding stock was also not safe. Anyone who was holding crypto was also not safe. There was no safe haven. Only safe haven was commodities. Commodities ruled for 8-9 months. Everybody made money who were part of it. More than a year, in fact. Um, and now commodities are showing sign of top. So that's where my analysis or the change comes. So far, whatever I said is background. Now about the present, right? So so it's, you see what happens is the money move from one asset class to another. The system has different asset classes, right? We have bond market, we have commodities, we have stock market, and now fourth category is cryptocurrency. And of course, the forex market is also there, which is important. Anyway, so there are different asset classes. The money always move. Money cannot escape. Money cannot be burned. Remember, money always find a way. They may sit on cash for some time. It is possible, but not forever, because when there's inflation, even cash is would devalue if you sit on cash. So it move and find a way. So money moved into commodities, right? The smart investor moved their money into commodities, and it was obvious, evident, clear that what was rising. Now the commodity market, I see potential top. So I'm expecting that money would route back to other asset classes, including stock and crypto. So that's my rationale, that's my analysis and what I'm seeing. Of course, if the oil is just dipping not really reversing, then things will not be okay, because then the pressure on inflation will remain high. But if oil has stopped or maybe range bound, because then 80 to $120 per barrel is a range. If it remains, then it won't hurt anyone, because we have seen the top 130, so it won't hurt. Market knows that, adjusted, and the price, market already priced that much of oil price. So in other way, whatever low we saw probably is for that higher energy price. So if the energy price doesn't make new high, then we can say stock and crypto has made their lows. Okay. Now, sometime the money come in crypto late. It is possible, because when money comes, you will see which one is safer. So maybe stock like Apple gets first, or stock like Microsoft get first, or anything that is safer. Now I'm talking about option between crypto and stock. So if you are a big investor, would you put first money into crypto or stocks? The answer is stock. So it is possible that more money will get into stocks first, and then it will come to crypto, because crypto is a risky asset. So that is something to be seen in next 3 to 4 weeks, I would say. We are at a stage where it's more like an inflection point, I would say, where things could change. Like this is like a November month. Think about November month when nobody had any idea, but we had highlighted something like that. I'm highlighting, but right now, if you ask or see around, they will say it's going down. And we are not saying it's not going down, it is going down. But here is the difference. We are saying this is a potential inflection point. I'm not saying it bounce a lot. I'm not saying this is it. I'm saying this is a potential bottom formation here. Okay. With a condition that you see that 17777, 17,770. This is important support, and we'll talk about the support. But I wanted to cover how I came up with this, combining capital market information with crypto, because in Bitcoin I have levels. I could complete the call in matter of 10 minutes. But I wanted to share what I've been analyzing and the basis on which I'm saying that this is potential bottom formation. Okay. And that is something we have to watch. So it doesn't mean that one would go 100% in. It simply means that firstly, you don't have to be negative. You can be neutral. And that's the word I use. I'm neutral. Right? It doesn't mean that you go all in. It means that one may start with small amount on long. I would not say short, because it doesn't make sense unless it breaks 17777 level, which is S12 here on my screen. So it doesn't make a case for short. Also, it has gone down significantly. There might be a bounce, but that's not a rule. It can go down as well. So, but at this moment, as long as it's within this support zone, if I talk purely on TA, it doesn't make a case for short. Okay. And it doesn't make a case for bull run either. We are, because this is, as I said, inflection point. When inflection point, it's where there's no clarity. You may say no trade zone. In other words, you may say that, or you may say I could start small. Okay, that's where we are, right? So this is important to be understood. And as I said, there is no black and white picture. It's not day or night. There's always transition. There is no bull run and bear run, or bull trend or bear trend. There is always a phase in between which people don't talk about, where the transition happened, when the crossover happened. Okay, so we are at a crossover. So don't have to be. So you may say, when I'm saying neutral, you may say that I'm looking for upside move. Okay, but with a condition that it should hold the support. So that's the bottom line. So I hope there is no ambiguity in understanding my stand and the message that I'm trying to deliver here. Okay. Now, and things are fluid, and I'm always on top of the situation. So if anything changes, I'll be updating. But at this moment, whatever information I have from the recent past and what I observe beyond crypto market, I wanted to share through this call. If things change, I'll always update you as usual, right? But I hope you have the clarity. Now, whatever I said so far has great importance than any resistance or support we talk about for any other coin at this moment, because once you understand this, you understand the big picture. And at this moment, I'm expecting we understand the big picture. Okay. Of course, this is my point of view, right? And my interpretation. But this is more important than any short-term thing. Right? Now, trading point of view, one may see a short-term upside move and opportunity. There's no long-term opportunity at this moment because this is a crossover phase. And once we have good bounce from BTC, then we'll have longer. So at this moment, any opportunity that you would see could be for a few hours or for a day or maybe two, that kind of a thing. The moment BTC makes a move on the downside, the alt would just go down like crazy. In fact, so it's a known fact, but I'm seeing something different now. Some of the alts are showing more strength than BTC. What I observed that, of course, in percentage, also some alts recently did not go down as BTC. And also, like if I talk about, this is a new low from a technical point of view. Some of the alts we'll see, they haven't made new low. So that's also a fact. Now, it doesn't mean, I'm not trying to say the BTC is weaker and alts are stronger, but it's telling me that it's indicating that the money, the people don't want to sell even alts, and that's a positive sign. So I take that as a positive sign that alts are not beaten up as badly as before, and I see a sign of strength within them. So that's a positive news. So if you look at my screen, if on the right hand side, if the Bitcoin is down by 6%, you would see alts would go down by 2x or 3x often. Here it's not the case. So if you look at Sol for an example, it's holding up, even it's just under 2% of loss, and so many other coins. So in that ballpark range. So that's a positive sign. The site is they're not dumping as before. So you see this is a phase where they're slowing down. They're saying so the drop has slowed down or stopped, you can say, right? So this is where we stand at this moment. So if the situation changes, we'll come back and say, okay, what's next? But at this moment, this is what is happening. I hope I hope this makes sense. And what we can do is we can then look into the Bitcoin at different time frame, and we can have a quick pass through all the active coins. We'll focus on the bottom, the lows, because at this moment there's no bounce. So we will just see what are the support levels for different alts. I'll highlight, because that's what important at this moment, that if you're starting, then you need to know what are the key support. You don't have to think about resistance at this moment. You have to just make sure that you're not stopped out, or even if you stopped out, you know that where to protect, basically, because you may get stopped out if it goes down. But the point is, you need to know what are the key support levels. So I would focus on support, not on resistance, because once it starts going up, we have time to come back and highlight resistance. So at this moment, we just don't want new lows, right? So that's the expectation. So expectation has to be realistic. We are not thinking about big things at this moment. Our expectation is it should not make new low and it should stop here. And if it does, that's a big achievement in my point of view, because the higher level is on its way. Okay, I don't care about those levels. We'll calculate and we'll know. That's not a big deal. The first and foremost thing at this moment, this drop or drawdown must stop. Right? So we need to know what are the key levels, support level at this moment. That's it. And so I'll start with Bitcoin and then we'll go through alts. Okay. So this is very low time frame, 1 hour, but it shows that let me show you. I'll make this kind of a drawing. I mean, I can right now make this, but what if it makes new low? And so I would just cover this part. This may take time, right? A few days. Also, the capital market is closed. As I mentioned, the US capital market on Monday. So it will open on Tuesday. And you know that if Bitcoin, it's not a rule, but it is possible that decisive move will come on Tuesday or Monday evening when the futures open, but mainly on Tuesday, decisive move. So we'll have to see that. Okay, but for now, technically, I would draw this boundary where we can say, in fact, you see the rounding bottom like this. Like this, where this can be a center. So let's begin with this and we'll see. So I'm giving some gap here. And then, so if you project this one, this is 22nd, which makes sense because 22nd, where the market opens. So we would like to see price doesn't make new low and then continue move. I mean, make an arch like this, form a rounding bottom, okay, and try to recover. Some people are talking about capitulation, but it's not a rule that it must end with capitulation. I mean, that's one of the signs for sure, but not necessarily. Uh, then will you go higher on one day? So one day would look something like this. Now this chart, the version is posted on charts channel. So you have it, you refer it. Now I highlighted 3 levels, the yellow, the orange, and the green. So after this drop, bounce up to this level 26K is normal. That means, I mean, if it bounces up to 26K, it's encouraging, but we'll say, okay, this is normal, means it could bounce up to this. But if it can break above, that means it's time to cheer, right? So here, the expectation is it doesn't make new low. Here, if it touches here and then goes up, we'll say, okay, this is not just simple, it doesn't want to go down. And then this is the level where a trend level, uh, I would say trend level limit or resistance, this orange one. What does it mean is if it, so bounce could go up to this level. And if it is able to break above 34,200, that means we are not talking about any downsiders. We're not talking about further down. Okay. So beginning from 26K only, we can say we are good, but this 34,200 will confirm that this is over. And I would say I need 44,800 for trend reversal. So these are the three steps. And I mentioned that you consider this as a three-step approval, 1, 2, 3. So 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, that kind of thing. So it's like you tick mark, check mark, and then say, okay, now we're good. Once you get, so you see if you are planning long, if you're planning long term and all, you may use this as a stepping stone. So that's why I mentioned, if you're super conservative and someone who says, okay, I don't want to, then you can use this levels. Okay, so that's a choice. That's a choice. So that's Bitcoin. Now I have, so this is, I think you got pretty good idea on what is happening, but we'll once more, we should look into our Bitstamp version, which is weekly, okay, which is different because we talk about macro resistance here and macro support at this moment. So let's spend a couple of minutes on looking at it. This information, this is simple. There's no drawing many. I mean, there's only, so this channel we had the sign that is broken, right? So we had this rectangular pattern. Remember, I talked about that. So it was able to stay above. So this was the point. But the moment it dropped below this, it was broken. So this rectangular pattern broken, and that's why we have this major drawdown. It makes sense because this was a huge consolidation. So it made sense. Such a force, such a drop, like quick deep drop. It makes sense. So this rectangle pattern broken. I should keep it. I should keep it just for reference. Approximately, because it's a lot of lows. So this is approximate. This is a boundary. This was the first breakdown level. This is the second low. Right? And this support. So far it has broken two major support and reached at third. Now we covered the bull scenario and where we stand. Let's cover the bear scenario. If the if they're out. So this is a recent low. Make a different color. This is a recent low. It is slightly, the week hasn't ended, so this is slightly down. On a weekly scale, it's not a big deal. The next lower level, which I calculated today morning, are 13,800. MS4, MS5 is 10,200. And this is something you don't want to see. This is MS6, but my job is to calculate everything. So this is a complete reset of the bull run, and which is 5,500. So this is far-fetched. This is 10,200 is not, is I would say is on the table, probable. if the support is broken. 13,000 will be the next one if the support is broken. But 10,000 is also probable. In that case, it will reset the bull move from here. In fact, so this level is not based on this, just to clarify, it's based on my TA. But the common method people use, so is they sometime look for the top, and then they try to draw a line like this, which is also coming on the same level. So that way 10,000 is on the table if it doesn't recover. And this is to be understood, because then everybody should know that there can be 50% more drop from here potentially. I mean, up to 13,800 of that's the next obvious level, and but it could go up to 10,000 level, 10,200. This is very far-fetched, right? So, but calculation point of view, I just kept it handy. So this is how it looks like on weekly, right? And on the upside, it has to redo everything. So if it starts bouncing from here on, then it has to break about this resistance and re-enter into this rectangular. So once it re-enters, that it, from this pattern point of view, especially MS1, which is 31,000, let's say 31,000, 31,000, then we can say, okay, now it's back in the game from this weekly point of view. On a, this is more on a daily, which is different. This is more accurate. Okay, that weekly is approximate. This is more accurate, and I'll refine if required. Okay, so that's where we stand. And yeah, so it would be amazing if it makes this kind of a, it is doable actually. It makes something like this, total U shape or V shape recovery, and then consolidation, a reaction somewhere here. So this big, so the way a bull case I'm seeing is where it would then consolidate here after making this high. But I think it will wait for the capital market to open on Tuesday, in my opinion. You never know, but that's my hunch at this moment, because that's beyond TA, but that's typically the behavior in that case. But I'm bull case point of view, I'm looking for total V-shaped recovery like this. Of course, in between there will be some stoppages, but this is the destiny around this region. Once it lands in this region, that becomes range bound movement, and then make another high up to say 7, and so on. And then again some consolidation here, and then new all-time high, because this is huge resistance zone. So another roadblock would be this zone, this, and this is the level, but this is a zone. So this is first major zone, second. So yeah, I would say this second and then third, because this is the first one. So this is the first major zone, this is second, and then third. So this is bull case. Now you have both the perspectives. You know the key levels. You know the capital market, my point of view, why Bitcoin went down. We covered that. Interest rate hike, inflation, commodities impact on inflation. Commodities are topping out, or at least sign of top. Right. So these factors, if we put together, we have a chance that it will bounce from here. But if the commodities go up, inflation go up, interest rate won't continue go up, in that case, it's a problem, big problem. Then we'll have to look for the lower level, which is 13,000 or 10,000, or it could be worst. Okay, so I think this is Bitcoin. Now I can have a quick pass through all the alts on weekly. This should be fast, because right now the focus is Bitcoin. but we'll just focus on this active coin low time frame, right? Sorry, support. So Alice is on, um, you can say retest of this, no new low as such, haven't closed yet. Atom broke below this one, so it's still, so at this moment there's no bounce, so it is more like looking for this cluster, or I would say this is a big, actually I should use this big one. This is a little tricky. Okay, this atom is tricky. When I say tricky means the range is wide. Okay, I mean I can calculate, but I don't want to calculate because it's too much of work on my end. I could calculate accurate one, but it's too much. Um, at this moment, the Bitcoin has to bounce, then it makes it. So at this moment, I would just highlight at a high level. So this one also, this low is important, July low for AVAX. You see, this is already complete the structure. So this line is important. This is a neckline. You see, this is, because if this is broken, there's nothing. So we covered all this. So I think a couple of weeks ago, I covered everything. Last week I skipped alts because there was nothing. Bitcoin was very weak. So if this is broken, remember, I mean, I mentioned using a couple of example. If Bitcoin makes new low, that means this everything would go down like crazy. Okay, like crazy. This is nothing. So this, you won't be surprised when I said Sol will be on 27. Probably it was hard to digest, but it happened. So and some coins are ahead in the game, some are not. So it doesn't mean those coin not drop, they may drop later and faster. Those coin which actually dropped a lot may go slow down. So for an example, any coin like Filecoin, Litecoin, or some other word like beaten up badly, they may go down slowly. It is possible. Coin which were holding up may go down faster. So it's not a race, but the point is, at this moment, we cannot say they all could go down badly. That's my point. If Bitcoin lose its key support, so BNB could go down all the way to 2030. I'm not kidding. Complete reset. At this moment, it's so that's why this is important. After then, 40, and then so on. But I had to. I'm still recording, so keep your mic on mute, please. Okay, so Doge, oh my bad, cool. So it has come to this support level which we projected, right? I think on BNB, I haven't projected, but I can draw a simple line. Or I had to draw here. There's nothing in between. And CRO. So this is here. So the next one is somewhere here. This is the low. The next one is $3 or something, $3 to $4. EGLD showing good signs. See, this is weekly green at this moment. We don't have, today it's bad, but it's weekly green. So if this is broken, then we're talking about 19 to 20 to kind of a level. Ethereum made new low, but it's 796 is this is destiny. So this is the low, but if this is also broken, then it could go to 300, 400 level. Not kidding. Be just mentally ready, just in case. Flux has reached to its level, right? So this is the level. Now this is the level. um, but if this is broken, then it's complete reset. Okay, complete reset. Into FTM. Look at this. So I think I analyzed this in detail to demonstrate. I think in one of the calls I demonstrated this one, that this is a crown, this is second level, and this is the third level, and this is the fourth level. I'm going to keep this as a sample one, so you understand. And so many charts are similar to this. I think I don't remember, but the session was not recorded. I think I covered that a few days ago. But now this is part of the recording. You see, this is the crown, and then this is head, and then this was the right hand side, and it was broken. This was the dotted line, was the first neckline. It was broken. Come to this. This is left hand side, and so we could expect a bounce. May not be, but then if doesn't, um, it it bounce here actually. Little tricky. So if this is broken, then there's nothing but this level, and then bounce. So this is how it looks like. So this could be this. The green arrow is there proper, but this could be this can be like this also. It may not go all the way. So this is a sample one. GAL. Now nothing to talk about this one. This, I mean, there's no, it just go down further, right? So we'll just draw. I'll just adding just for sake of doing. HNT is one of the strong ones. You see, one of the strong ones. We don't have many coins like this. It has broken about. Amazing coin. Look at that. I think this is doing something awesome. But anyway, nobody is isolated if the BTC crashes. Yeah, right? In that case, it could make me know. KCS landed here. Okay. But yeah, if this is broken, then this is one of the strongest ones, right? But so that's why it's late. In the strong ones do not lose easily. They're late in their life cycle. KDA, I mean, there's nothing. If this is important. If this is one, then this is the low. The complete reset. Chainlink is one of the strong ones. We had this drawing. Now you see this it's following. So it is strong, but when it comes to weekly, it shows what it's really doing. On daily, it may go up and all, but you have to track on weekly, because then it otherwise it gives you false impression that it's really going up. It's not going up, it's going down. But at this moment, it's at the support. So next level is pretty low, $1 $2 kind of a level. Luna is also gone. I mean, now I would just put a cross. This is worthless. I'm not tracking it now. So this is a key support zone. Next this. 0.23 kind of a level. Matic, it has landed. Look at that. See, probably it was 2 weeks ago we were here and I said this one. So it landed here. Now, if this is taken, right, if this is taken, there's nothing. What is? Not kidding. Actually, it could go down all the way here. But for now, I'll just say this 0.03 to 0.04 range. So the money is this like being cashed out here. That's what is happening. The system from high risk assets. That's what. One, this is my circle. So I'm going to keep it. So RNDR. So it went below the circle. Now what to say? It made new low. Right, so I can calculate low, but it's useless. So at this moment, I would just say we are not tracking this. Doesn't make sense. So but we tracked all the way. Remember, we provided and we said this is important. Which level? SND. Also scary. See, and in the bear markets. Wow. So this is the destiny. I'm going to keep it. But if this is also broken, then it goes for 0.15. I know it's depressive. Even while I'm talking, it's so depressing. But what can I do? SOL landed here. Remember, the circle was given here and almost there, like $26. This is the range. So maybe I'll adjust a bit, which is not so far. So this is important. Now, if this is broken, then what to say? Maybe $13, something like this. And if this is also broken, then too much, $4. I think this is something I mentioned on the chatter a few days ago, 27, 13, and 4, if I'm not wrong, approximately. And this was also tracked very closely. We don't have drawing at this moment, but like if you refer 5-6 months ago, somewhere here, in month of January, you will find the recording. And this has happened. So we have the circle, so it's covered. So this is a current support zone. That's it. And so it's all done. So now let's go back to BTC because it dropped. Not much. It's still here. Right, so still about this. So anyways, we have this range and you got the idea. Now this session is recorded. You refer, I'll upload as soon as possible. So I'll end this here. I hope you have understanding on key levels and other like beyond Bitcoin, beyond crypto. I'll open for questions, ending this recording here.